And for years, Ros has told me little snippets about her island, and has totally entranced me. And she's also talked about St Declan's Way for a number of years. And we had thought of cooking up another project which didn't quite happen. And this book happened almost instantaneously, didn't it, Ros? Because it was kind of like, oh dear, we can't do that. What else can you do? Well, I'd love to do St Declan's Way, and actually I think I'm going to be going off in about 5 or 6 weeks to do it. And after all the stories of fairy forts, of abandoned castles, of eccentric characters, of us talking about pilgrimage, Ros went off and did it. And I really want to applaud your bravery, Ros, because St Declan's Way was well-trodden, but it's not so well-trodden now. But she went off very stalwartly with her backpack, and she's done the journey for us. And what I love is the way you weave in the ancient spirituality, the wild characters, and also your own personal journeying of going back to a country you know well and sharing something of yourself. So a huge thank you from all of us. It is wonderful to have Castles here, and we wish it every success and you every success, and so much love from all of us, I'm sure. And now it is my huge pleasure to welcome another dear person to the stage, the one and only Walter Mason, author of Destination Saigon.
Heavens. If you've read my book, you know I've got a history of breaking furniture, so when this arrangement was suggested to me, I smiled bravely. But here I am. You know, Ros was one of the first real live working writers that I knew, and I always loved everything about her, her oddity, her enthusiasm, her eccentricity. I keep stressing these things, don't I? But and one of the things I was always in awe of was her industry. She's always working, always thinking of new ideas. And when you come to read the book, you'll see this industry is extended into every aspect of her life, because she really gets amongst it when she's in Ireland, and she gets onto St Declan's Way, and she does all sorts of extraordinary physical feats, which I simply wouldn't be capable of. So I'm in great awe, let me tell you, Ros. I saw a whole new part of you. But luckily, Ros and I worked together for some years, and we had wonderful fun, and the fates brought us together again to make us brother-sister authors at Inspired Living under the mentorship of our mutual friend Maggie Hamilton. And so I'm exceedingly proud to be under the same label as you, Ros, and I'm exceedingly proud to be asked to launch your book tonight. And I'll read now because it's much more fabulous when I do. It was I read the book very quickly, and I told Ros that right from the moment I read it, I was enchanted by the Irish world she had created. And Ireland is more than the book's setting. Ireland itself is a character in this book, and it comes to life. And there's a most captivating spirit of place that Ros has managed to distill in the book. And I've never been to Ireland, but once I'd read the book, I'd felt that I'd been there. More than that, I felt like I belonged there. I was and I am enchanted by the Sheila and the Gigs. I won't tell you any more, but I looked them up on Google, let me tell you. And I urge you all to do that when you get home. The fairy raths, the sacred springs where Ros tied a scrap of her father's big spotty handkerchief as a sort of special prayer and offering, and it was such a beautiful and touching moment. And all of these little moments throughout the book made me aware of the special spirit of place that Ros was treating with so much reverence and so much love. This is a book really about belonging, and I was intrigued by this theme that ran through the book. It's not just I went here and I did this. It's a real examination of what it is to belong and what it means to belong to a place, because Ireland is one of those places where belonging is a very contested area, and Ros engages with this idea. It's about when and where we feel we have arrived home and the complexities surrounding identity. And of course Ros struggles with this identity, not just in the book but in her real life, because what is she really? Is she English? Is she Irish? Is she Australian? Or is she a simple wayfarer with some terrible blisters on her little toes? And more profoundly, it's a book about spirit. The spirit of travel, the spirit of place, and the nature spirits and fairies of the old world that populate the corners of our vision and the very edges of our perception. Not Catholic, not Anglican, not Wiccan or nature worshipper, Ros manages to combine all of these in the exquisite Irish landscape, along a difficult past that stretches back into the mythic past, and so offers hope for all pilgrims. Now, as soon as I'd finished the book, and I finished it very, very quickly, it's such a wonderful read, but as soon as I finished this book, I felt something reaching into me, a strand of DNA that I'd forgotten, and it's a strand that I'm sure many of us in this room share. There's Irish blood in so many people in Australia. And I felt Irish once again, you know, I felt this sense of belonging that had been forgotten a long time ago or never really connected with. And that's a wonderful gift, Ros. And that's a gift that you will all get when you read this book, because it's telling us about ourselves in a really profound way. It's not just travel, like I said, it's about ourselves and it's about our own journeys. So tonight, we celebrate Ros, a friend, a goddess, a lover of Irish soil, and one of Australia's very best writers. Thank you, Ros.
Well, Walter's a hard act to follow. His book, Destination Saigon's absolutely fantastic. It's so funny and it's brilliantly written. And I can't thank him enough, actually, because that came out last year and he's just been so supportive and given me so much advice and so much guidance in, you know, what you do. But there are all sorts of tiny little things you have to get done, like, you know, write an introduction when you think you can't write anything else. And he just sort of managed to say all the right things, so thank you. Actually, this book's got my name on the cover, but it's sort of a work of everybody, really, a lot of people. And I just want to thank a few. I particularly want to thank everybody at Adyar for sort of making tonight happen, and all this wonderful detail like balloons and four-leaf clovers, and just all the organisation that's gone into it. So thanks Warren and Celeste and Angus and Liam and Harry. Thank you so much. Also Virginia, she's gone. But also big thank you to Maggie for actually believing in this idea and continuing to believe in it when those early manuscripts came back, which was she actually said to me, she said, "Oh Ros, very nice story, but could you just put yourself in it?" Something I'd sort of forgotten about. So she was the one that made me sort of weave that in, and I think it wouldn't really be much of a book if one hadn't done that. So and thanks also to Kathy, who's somewhere, and for your support, and to Aziza, who was so beautiful as an editor. She just did a brilliant job and so gently. And also to Kate Hyde, who I don't think's here, but she's doing this wonderful quiet business of promoting it and getting sort of reviews and things like that. So the other person I must thank is Jenny Danks. I wasn't actually going to let anybody read it, but Jenny kept saying, "Oh, Ros, would you like me to do that?" And it did need somebody to look at it, so thanks, Jenny. Moved it on. And another person who read it early on was Lainey Folger. Lainey Folger actually made these cupcakes that you must all have one, because they're actually the same colour as the book. They're yellow, and they've sort of got as near to shamrocks as she could find at this time of year, which is quite difficult because it's not Patrick's Day. Though I would like to say it's St Declan's Day, 24th of July, so that's a very important date to celebrate as well. But Lainey's input was just terrific. She had such insight and guidance and a wonderful sort of editing eye. So thanks, Lainey. And also thank you to Tim Graham. He's been an enormous help, and he also made a website for me, which is what you need when you've got a book. So, and also big thank you to Stephen for all his patience for 3 years, because it really wouldn't have been possible without you. And a big thank you to everybody for coming here to give it its support tonight. particularly my cousin Carolyn, who's come all the way from Auckland.